Hello guys, we're Team Covenant and we are here with the newest Netrunner pack, Double Time, and I cannot believe what we're about to dive into here.
I have no clue what's going on.
All right.
I'm just here for the ride.
Tim, you're probably the most seasoned with the new cards, right?
It's probably accurate.
You tend to play a little bit more Netrunner than I do, which is unfortunate. I wish I could
Some of us are here
you.
on Wednesday nights. Some of us are not.
Some of us are not.
I happen to be here on Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, let's kick it off with the old Singularity. It's a 4-cost event. It's a double. As the initial cost to play it, you may spend a click.
Must.
Yeah, I guess
You may spin a click.
May would be hilarious.
That'd be awesome. I'll not spin the click.
I'll choose not to. Make a run on a remote server. If it's successful, instead of accessing cards, trash all cards in the server at no cost, even if they cannot normally be trashed. All right, so it doesn't trash the ice in the server. Could trash an agenda. Could trash an agenda protected by a few upgrades. Could trash a trap.
If you think it's a June bug or something,
Mm-hmm.
or a snare, which I think is probably the best use of this card right now.
Yeah, really.
In the current meta and the way that things are played. I've seen people put like snares on their sands
Mhm.
to protect their sands while they're waiting for an agenda, or they'll put whatever on their sands to try to protect it.
Yeah.
And this is an answer to that, sort of, if you want to go that route.
That's an interestingly not great or bad card for me.
I mean, the
It's
problem
right in that pocket.
My problem with this card is it's kind of just where the meta is right now. I think you'll have a good number of matchups where this is doing literally nothing the entire game.
I think the majority, like the last time I saw a deck that was running a remote server in the first place,
Yeah.
and it had more than one upgrade,
Yeah.
that would cost more than 4 credits and 2 clicks.
Yeah,
to
totally.
trash.
Sure.
Is not often.
Right.
Now, like someday in the future, that might be the case. It's like, oh, I have red herring, strongbox, San, and whatever other card, and then it's like, okay, this becomes a little bit better.
That's the weird thing about this card is that it essentially makes a run on a server a strongbox red herrings run because you have to spend the extra click to make the run and then you have to pay 4 to make the run. So it's like if you had strongbox red herrings down there, just run it and you're fine anyway. So yeah, problems. But it trashes sands. That's good.
You're
I
spending
think
4 credits and 2 clicks to trash a sand that costs 5 to trash. Makes sense.
traps are really good. I mean, I think if you see like the Project Ares stacking bunch of things sitting over there that you don't know if it's a cerebral or there are a few decks that it would hurt. But I think this is a
Those
sleeper.
decks are really popular right now too.
Yeah.
It's just not a fit right now. It's not
It's
useful
a sleeper.
often enough.
Yeah.
To make it.
But it is good, like super server insurance.
It's also worth noting that if you're running Starlight Crusade funding,
Yes,
this costs one less click to play.
that's true.
All of a sudden this card. I'm just kidding.
It's coming around, man.
No, I think that it will. Anyway,
Starlight will come around, but I think we sleep on this one for now. Some people will run it, but I think it'll find its way out of decks because it just isn't universally
what you want
useful.
it to
And
be.
as more cards come out, it's harder and harder to find because my deck is filled with 45 really useful cards right now. So something's going to have to be really, really useful to replace one of those. Yeah.
I totally
Singularity.
understand.
Yeah, no.
All right, up next we have Queen's Gambit.
Sweet.
It's a 0-cost event, double traded, 3 influence. As an additional cost to play this event, spend a click. Place up to 3 advancement tokens on an unresed card in a remote server. Gain 2 credits for each advancement token placed. You cannot access that card this turn. This card can be good.
It speaks so well of its name. Queen's Gambit.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you can basically pay 0 and spend 2 clicks to gain 6.
2 clicks for 6 credits.
It's pretty solid. The main point being, a lot of times you don't have any money. And when you don't have any money, getting the money to get money can be tough.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
For sure.
I think this is interesting. I don't know. It's really good if I can expose a lot of cards.
That's my first thought whenever I see this card. It's like they install something and advance it twice. It's like, well, let's see what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's a Project Junebug.
Mhm.
All right, well, Queen's Gambit for 6, and now I don't care about that card.
Now, in a remote server, it doesn't refer to ice, right?
Does not.
So inside, so the actual server itself. So you can advance like a sand that's you, but it has to be unresed.
Unrest.
It's kind of, it is a Queen's Gambit, but again, I think the meta's not in a place to make use of this. How many times are you going to be in a game where there's just not a remote server with
A
an
lot.
unresed thing? There's going to be a lot of games like that.
I mean,
I think that this is a good card. I just don't think it's good right now.
do you see sands enough? Like, I think it's not like if I expose Sansan, you're going to suddenly res it because you think I have a Queen's Gambit.
No.
Right? So, like,
No, but the question is, like, in those instances, which is the normal instance, is you're playing against Symbian and you don't know if it's the Astro script or the Sansan. And heaven forbid you take the risk to put 3 on an Astro script and then give them a free score and a free turn next turn.
And
like,
then probably score another Astro
you,
script.
you just, I mean, in the instances where it probably is a Sansan, can you take the risk that it isn't a Sansan?
It's hard for me to justify using this card on a card you don't know what it is.
Yes. Now, this could easily find its way into like a blackguard build, except for they
res it whenever you expose it.
Yeah, that's true. That's even worse then, isn't it?
I think it's less in a blackguard and more in just a deck that is already running exposed because they don't want to get with traps or something. Or a deck that's just willing to take the risk. Like maybe you play the card that makes it where you have to, I don't know, like make it harder to score agendas, or they're out of money. So even if it is, like they install, like if it's 4 advancement or something, they would need more money to score it. And I don't know. It's at least it's economy.
It's economy. I think we need to see a lot more remote servers for this to be worthwhile.
That is true.
I think that it'll come around.
Yeah. It's a great little money card, though.
All right, next up, we have an Anarch piece of hardware. It's a Dyson Fractal generator. 1 cost. It's a chip. It's stealth. 1 recurring credit. Uses credit to pay for using fractors.
I would never have expected this to be a red card.
Which are
like
barrier breakers.
I like it.
Well, we already have Lockpick, which is in Shaper, that is a recurring credit for code gates.
Mm-hmm.
Or decoders, I should say.
And then, we get barriers, huh?
Yeah.
I guess the Anarch should be the best at just breaking through something that's in their way. And it's not tricky. It's just like, I'm going to brute force through this thing.
Yeah.
It feels very Anarch, so I guess I rescind.
I think it's a solid card.
I think, and the big thing about this card is it's a stealth credit. So we have no idea what the barrier stealth breaker is going to be.
Yeah.
And until we know that, we really don't know how good this card is.
Sure.
Right now, it's 1 credit for recurring credit, which is not terrible.
It's not terrible.
It's not terrible.
Pretty decent off of
3 influence too. Does that make you happy?
3 influence. I do like all these 3 influence cards. I like that it works. I mean, if anyone's running Aesop's a lot these days, I feel like it's the Anarchs too, just because of Wild Side and because all the viruses that you can trash and stuff. So it's cool that you can get a few recurs out of it. If you need the burst cash, you can Aesop's it. But again, it's like there's 45 really useful cards in decks right now.
That's why, like, I think this card is really going to come into its own when we have a stealth barrier breaker.
Mm-hmm.
It's also worth noting that the Lockpick is 3 influence as well, and then the one we're about to see for Criminal is also 3 influence. So it's going to be hard to run all 3 stealth breakers in one deck. So it's going to be hard to have a stealth rig, if you will.
All right. Well, we'll see if we can find a way.
We'll see what happens.
Cool little card for Anarchy.
Speaking of cool cards,
good draft card. Silencer. Look at that. Oh, Gabe. 1 cost. Hardware. Chip. Stealth. Boom. 1 recurring to use on killers, which is generally Sentry Breakers.
I think that this one is already way stronger than the other ones, just because we already have Dagger.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see Dagger making its way into Criminal decks now, where they're running both Cloak, maybe Cloak, and then also this.
Yeah.
And it also helps with using Femmes. It also helps with using Fairies.
Yeah, that's really nice. That's really nice.
It's just a lot more useful than the other ones right now.
And it's also, I mean, these are maybe a little bit local meta dependent cards, and then obviously if you're going to a big event, it's hard to say, but like, are people running a lot of Sentries right now or not? And like, if they aren't, doesn't much matter, cards like this. I feel like on the other end, the Anarch one, most everyone's going to run Sim in the Run barriers just because you need them most of the time. Whereas not everyone would even run, a Sentry sometimes. I
think most decks run a few Sentries.
Yeah.
I mean, I also wonder, like, Shaper is the thing that makes it interesting for me is that they have an identity that turns any piece of ice into a code gate up front, which makes sense out of Shaper. I wonder if we'll get other identities that turn ice into
make them all killers, make them all Sentries
X
or something.
Or Y. And then these cards really slot into being useful in that scenario. If you're always going to break the Sentries, you're always going to have your Sentry breaker.
Yeah.
I really think that once ever we see the other stealth breakers, it's
That'll
really going
to
make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
With how the decks are going to be built.
That's fair. Fair point. Otherwise, I'll just take a Cyber Feeder.
Yeah, that's the
Cyber Feeder's good.
2 for any icebreaker.
Yeah.
Anyways, up next we have Savoir Faire. It is a 0 cost 1 MU criminal program.
I'm glad I wasn't pronouncing that.
It is 3 influence. You cannot use Savoir Faire more than once each turn.
Okay.
2 credits to install a program from your grip, paying the install cost.
So basically, this just lets you install stuff during a run.
Mhm.
Is the idea,
Or
potentially
during your opponent's turn. Saves you clicks.
you can also do it during your turn.
And it's instant.
Your opponent's turn, so Kate can do some things.
You do have to install this card.
Yes.
You do have to put this card in your deck, draw it. All of that cost is up front.
Yep.
Cost
The assumed cost of a card.
Yeah. And then you save a click, and you have to pay 2 extra credits.
2 extra.
I think this card will see play. I do not think it will see a ton of play.
It's kind of a shame that it's in the faction that it's in, which probably is its saving grace, honestly. Just because, I mean, criminal of anyone are, I feel, the least likely to get hosed off, like, just face-checking an archer or something. Because, like, oh, I just play this fairy and I'm safe until I need to
Right.
trash it. Other factions have a lot harder time, I feel like, dealing with the really punishing ice that can just ruin your day. Whereas criminal usually fairy, done. So
Shaper does have Sharpshooter now,
they do.
which is like their version of fairy.
So maybe as an Anarch player, I'm just hosed.
Yeah.
No, but I can honestly.
As it happens.
This seems great in Anarch too. You know, for all the various reasons that installing during a run is great for Anarch, whether it's parasites or installing viruses before you run and trash archive stuff. It's good. It's good, but will it? I don't know. 3 influences has me squirming a little bit over here.
But art's fantastic.
I can't see myself using this out of faction.
I mean,
It's right where it needs to be.
Yeah.
Because I want to use it, but I just don't think it'll make it.
Like I said, it'll see play, but it won't see a ton of play.
Maybe best point is criminal isn't having a problem that this card slots into fixing.
Correct.
I think that's probably the most
the best way of
accurate
saying
thing
that,
right
yeah.
now. Yeah.
But they may end up having a problem that solves.
Maybe one day.
And,
Maybe one day.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have a criminal resource. It's a connection. It's called Fall Guy. 0 cost.
You can pronounce that one.
You can. I did pronounce it well. You can trash it to prevent another resource. Install the resource from being trashed, which is hilarious. You can also trash it to gain 2 credits.
This is the cousin of Autumn guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
The father of Summer guy. No, it's 1 influence, so that's huge, I think. This card is really good. If you're playing Katie Jones, I think this is...
It's good protection.
It's like, I'm just going to install this.
I mean, also, like, you can trash during a run, right?
Mhm.
If you really need 2 extra
Yeah, it's
credits.
like,
It's like,
I'm 2 credits short. All right, I'll just use my fall guy.
Yeah.
That's a good benefit. But then the biggest thing to me that I see out of this is New Angeles City Hall and the Source. Both of those cards, whenever an agenda is
Crazy.
scored or stolen,
so you can
you
trash
them.
this instead.
But
Yeah.
you trash this instead.
Yeah.
So like in criminal decks that run one of the Source and they use their hostage to go get it, like this lets you get more use out of that 2 influence.
That's
Mhm.
crazy.
And New Angeles City Hall just lets you not have to pay those credits when you don't really need to, like, and whenever it really hurts.
Man, you can really stick some corpse on the fast advance train, and they lose. Like, they will just lose if those things happen.
That's great. I
Yeah,
like fast advance.
really
thinking
good.
of it.
This is really
So
cool.
I think it's a really useful card.
Surprising
in a lot
little
of
card,
ways.
and we know that criminal's getting a lot more connection-based support that has advantages
It's
for
going
having
to
a lot.
slot right in there. That new, whichever card, I forget what it was called, the one that gives you a credit for every installed
Yeah.
connection.
Yep, this makes too much sense for
It's
that.
just
It's
so
really
good.
nice.
Yeah.
Ooh, power nap. Man, look at all these 0 cost things. It's a double event. We always love to see Dinosaurus, don't we? And it's additional cost to play it. You have to spend a click, of course. Gain 2, gain an additional 1 for each double event in your heap. I'm telling you guys, we've been talking about it jestfully, and then we continue to talk about it in a no, seriously, it could be a thing, but still, it's kind of a joke.
I'm not joking.
It's getting better.
I'm not joking. On Wednesday night, Joe was running a double deck.
Of course, Joe was.
He tied for first place. The economy of Lucky Find and Power Nap together is insane.
Man, that would be good.
I assume
on
Lucky
a
Find's
turn-
coming up because I haven't seen that card.
Like on a turn where you played Starlight Crusade Funding, then you play Lucky Find to gain 9, play Lucky Find to gain 9, and then play Power Nap to gain 4. If you haven't played other doubles as well,
Yeah.
like you're destroying
money.
on economy.
Wow.
Or you play Crusade Funding, Hostage to get an Aesop's, Lucky Find, then Power. Like there's so many combinations of things that are just great. And then the next turn you can just sell the Crusade Funding to the pawn shop. There are lots of things that are happening here that are pretty good, I think.
All right.
Well, I'm excited to see it. I
Yeah,
hope
yeah,
that's a real
let's-
deck.
Let's. I'll get Lucky Find here in a second.
All right, up
Man,
next.
what a card!
Oh, look at that art.
Up next, we have Paintbrush.
That's
It
cool.
is a 3-cost, 2 MU shaper program. It is 4 influence. A lot of people have been pining over this card. It has an ability, Click.
Like they've been sad about it.
No, they've been
Yeah, I totally understand.
yearning for it. Like I think it's
sweet.
fantastic. You use a
Of
Click
course, kid.
to choose a res piece of ice. That ice gains Sentry, Kogate, or Barrier until the end of the next run. This turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this
That's
is a
a card.
great piece to that puzzle. I love this. You love this?
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
This is so good.
You gotta love this, man. Talk about going from early to mid game with Kit. Wow, that looks really good.
Yeah,
it's
that's
mean,
fantastic.
You gotta go 3 deep. Code get on the outside just to like, man, that's good.
That's real good.
That's pretty scary. I mean, it's really nice actually because it conflicts with the Opus that wants to sit there as well a lot of times in those decks. So you can't have it all, at least not up front.
It is worth noting that it's not and Barrier, so you have to choose which one it is. But it's res already, so you know what you want to make it.
Yeah, I mean it's already a thing, and you can make it a second thing.
You're fine. But
Right?
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Like you'll be fine.
And good synergy with like Sharpshooter and stuff. You want to get in for very cheap once. You
It
know?
doesn't do Sharpshooter.
It doesn't.
Sharpshooter breaks a.
Oh,
Destroyer.
it has to be that particular type. Okay.
Mhm.
This
Fairy
is-
though would work.
Yeah.
What?
Fairy works. You can
Fairy's
make it
a
a
Sentry
Sentry,
Breaker.
and then
Dang,
it's like,
okay, that's what
I'm gonna pay
Or
it.
you could have your Eog on a Dinosaurus and just make him all Kogates.
That seems
Yeah.
like the most active use
Uh,
of this card.
That would be a pretty good one. Yeah.
like it's good. It's very strong.
Okay, wait. Let's dig a little bit deeper into this thing because I think this is going to be a critical shaper piece.
Yeah,
I'm feeling
this
like
is the Shaper Sneak Door, the Anarch's
the keyhole.
Keyhole, like
Yeah.
Because Shaper already has plenty of multi-access. They were just kind of less tricky about getting in. It was a very old school way of just getting money and playing all the breakers.
It is
A
what
lot
it
of them.
is.
I mean, Kit kind of changed that. But this even opens up. You play any breaker early game, and it can get you into those early servers for a while, probably. You play this in a barrier breaker, it doesn't matter. Code Gate breaker, Sentry breaker, it doesn't matter. And it's like,
now it is worth noting that it has to be a rezzed piece of ice.
Yes.
So like you have to face check it,
You gotta
or
face check it.
forged it, or
Mhm.
something like that.
That's fine.
Blackguard it.
yeah, I think that's cool. I mean, I can see a first turn, right? It's an active, it's an aggressive shaper. Even
how many-
Chaos Theory likes this pretty well, I feel like, too.
Because of the
It's-
memory.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times with Kit? I'm just thinking it's like you face check because you know it's going to be a code gate,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and it's like you're doing that the whole game. So by the time like mid game hits around, most of their stuff is going to be rezzed that matters. I mean,
This is really good.
But like, I don't know. That's strong. That's
This is really
strong.
good.
The
I
ability
could-
for a click, no cards.
I throw 3 in an Anarch deck with Morningstar and just call it a day, man.
Tinkering on a stick. That's hilarious.
Tinkering on a stick. That's fantastic.
I say that in jest, but it's going to work. Somebody's going to do that.
So you're taking the Worlds next year?
That's it. All right, Lucky Find. Well, this is, you were talking about this earlier. 3 for 9, and it's a double. So let's look at this.
It is 2 influence.
It is 2 influence. So that's, man, good economy. It's still so good.
It's a fantastic card. It's like you played a hedge fund and then clicked an Opus. You're gaining 6 credits for 2 clicks.
I think you mean Sure Gamble.
Or whatever.
Got him, Zach.
We all knew.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm confused. I mean,
I
so
wasn't
you basically are
confused.
spending 2
Thank you.
clicks and 3 credits and a card for 9 credits.
Mhm.
To me, the important part here is that you only need 3 credits to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what you
Yeah.
don't have to get to 5 to play it. You don't whatever.
The influence is hard here. 2 influence is hard for this unless you're in a Starlight for me.
The thing about this card is you can also look at it as 2 easy marks,
Yeah.
which are 1 influence apiece. So if you were splashing for easy mark in the first place,
Yeah.
you might have
You go to Lucky
just
Find.
compress it
And
into
it's a
this,
card.
and it's
Yeah.
a card.
It's non-conditional money, which is really great. I can't justify running this outside of Starlight for me.
I think it's
It's
fine
right on the
outside
it's right on the
Starlight.
pocket.
I don't know that you run 3 or you auto run it, but I think this finds its way into decks. That
I
are
think that
lacking.
there are decks that's like, I have like 11, 12 influence. It's like,
Mhm.
where do I put that last influence?
Yeah.
And it's like, Lucky Find is not a bad choice.
It's not a bad option. And I think when it comes to just like influence and where to spend it, it's like I'm looking for like abilities that I can't get in faction. I'm looking for like surprise things or theme supplementary things that make a deck really good. And I've found that pretty much every faction has ways to get good economy right now, and this to me isn't quite good enough to spend the influence, because I can already get money no matter what I'm playing. I can find a way to get money without spending 2 influence. Now to spend 2 influence, I like it. I like that we're on the bubble on this one. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I think it will see play, and it will be the right choice in a lot of decks.
Yeah. And a lot of people will play it and love it and never not spend that 2 influence there again for a while.
I agree. All right, up next we have Jury Labyrinth.
How cool is this card?
It's a 2-cost, 2-strength code gate, 2 influence HB. It has 1 subroutine. The runner's maximum hand size is reduced by 2 until the beginning of the corp's next turn. It's a card. It still gets destroyed by Yogg.
They've got to discard down to 3, basically, and so they're...
it really slots into their brain damage deck.
Yeah.
You get a few brain damage on them, and then you hit them with this card. It's like, well...
Oops.
Crap.
Oops.
Or we each have 3 of these in a row. Whirlpool into it. They lose.
If you whirlpool into 3 of the same piece of ice, you win. Okay.
Can their maximum hand size go below 0?
Yeah, I can.
That's like clarified 100%?
It's in the rules, yeah. If the runner's hand size is negative,
it's like
whenever they have to discard down, they lose.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, cheers. This is a cool little card. I can see this in every single corporation for various reasons. Probably not in the current MBN, just because Sweep
I was about to say MBN is the one that would be the weakest.
I mean, if I was doing the Scorch plan on that one, it might be okay.
It can slot in there. I don't know that you do, but it can, and it's not the wrong choice.
I mean, this could be really funny in a lot of scenarios.
It'll catch you a few times. I hate under 3-strength code gates right now. Still,
yeah,
though.
For sure, always. The other thing about this is you have to remember that Chairman Hero's coming out sooner than later, who's going to be the Jinteki executive that gives the runner -2 hand size while he's rezzed.
That could
so
get nasty for Jinteki.
You can get really...
Oh, your hand size is
This
1.
does seem like an obvious Jinteki thing.
Can be.
Because I really draw up at the end of my turn and run at the beginning, and now I can't. It's horrible.
Cheers.
Better be able to break that ice. All right, next up we have an HB operation. It's a double reclamation order, 1 cost. As additional cost to play this operation, spend a click. Name a card other than reclamation order. Reveal any number of copies of the named card from archives and add them to HQ.
Super strong.
Wow. That could be really good.
I've seen this out of cerebral imaging mainly recently, and getting back 3 biotics or something,
3 biotics or like 3 restructures or...
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of things that I've used it on personally in mine. Sometimes like I've been playing against Bruggles and his ice destruction. It's like, oh, you destroyed 3 of my rototurrets. Reclamation order, 3 rototurrets.
Yeah.
And now it's back and you have to deal with it again.
Really interesting card. I mean, it's more recursion. Even 2 of a card being in your discard and being able to pay 1 to get them. That's strong.
Yeah,
I'm 2 thumbs up on this card.
This is an interesting card for me, the way that I usually look at Netrunner, and it's like I'm spending 2 clicks and a credit to get cards back. So it's a form of card draw, a very specific card draw. But at the same time, would I rather have a card in my deck that just does something that I'd want anyway, rather than having to rely on? It's kind of the deja vu thing.
Well, I think that a lot
at the same time,
of the thing is you're building your deck towards the side. Like if you're spending 4 influence on a card, like.
Yeah, you probably want to get.
Yeah, it's like you don't want to spend 4 more influence on it.
Imagine it's like if there's 2 snares in your discard pile.
Yeah.
And it's like I'll pay 1 and put 2 snares in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
That's mean. That's so mean to have to run into that. I don't know.
Imagine you draw this first turn.
It is not good.
I guess in cerebral imaging, that's why it works so well. It's like you don't care. Cards are just
cards.
They're just your deck.
I think there are decks that will use this card absolutely.
I think cerebral imaging is that deck.
It is that deck for sure.
I think it will make its way into the decks too, though.
We'll find a way.
What up next?
We always find a way. Broadcast Square is a 2-cost asset. It's 5 to trash. I haven't even read it yet, which means it's good. Because that is the ratio we like to see on res cost to trash cost. But let's get to what it does. Whenever you are about to take at least 1 bad publicity, trace 3 is successful. Avoid taking bad publicity. Well,
I'm not a fan.
Well, I may have spoke too soon.
I think it's fine. I think that it will. I think it's good if you have it in your deck, but I don't think it's worth putting in your deck. Does that make sense?
That was quite the sentence.
Does that make sense?
I get what you're saying. I mean,
Like,
one, I want to point out anything that says about to.
let's clarify that.
I know.
Yeah.
It's hilarious to me. So I want to note that
It's
because
terminology.
I get that it's words.
You got to use something.
It could have been. Oh, okay.
Here's
We're good on that.
all right. So, first of all, question.
Does not work profiteering.
No. Second
Okay.
question. Chilo City Grid, you make a run
Mhm.
on a server with a muckraker that I res.
Mhm.
When I res it, I take a bad pub. I then initiate this trace.
Mhm.
I then take a tag for Chilo.
Yeah.
I think that's correct.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
During a run. Okay, so there's something. So it makes that deck, which is not good, a little bit cooler.
It's 3 influence, which is what makes it tough for me. I could see this in like a Wayland deck.
Even
this doesn't
then-
work. Wait, this doesn't work for profiteering?
No,
Why is that?
because you have to take the bad publicity to get the credits.
Oh, it's a cost? Ah.
Yeah, I really wish this read after you take bad pub, do the trace.
This would be
Not
fantastic
take-
with profiteering.
remove the bad pub.
Yeah, man.
If that was the case, it would be really, really
So,
strong.
this
I
is-
don't think this adds anything to the NBN equation.
That's
right
how
now.
I feel about it. Like,
I
it's
think-
fine. I think it's fine card. And I think that if you put it in your deck and you're running bad publicity cards, it will be useful. And no one's ever going to trash it.
Yeah.
But it's still eating a card slot.
This is a 2-year down the road card for me.
I was gonna say, I think at some point
When every card on my deck gives me a bad pub
Yeah.
because they're all awesome, and
Or
then Broadcast Square
when-
just sits out there.
If 3 of them out.
Yeah.
or if the runner suddenly
Yeah, I
has
guess so.
a way to give and a reason to give you bad pub in a really bad
Like
way.
frame job.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought if we were gonna see,
But I mean, like if there was a deck type where it's like I'm trying to give you bad pub and making you pay for said bad pub
Yeah,
lots of times.
I think
over.
that exists already.
but it doesn't like really like.
It's not like
If it were the new Andromeda like hotness to give
Yeah.
the Corp 7 bad pub and then run blackmail and stuff, that would be a thing.
I really do think that giving the corp a bad pub and then running blackmail is going to be a deck. I really do.
Yeah,
it's
this
strong.
just isn't here yet.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think it's a thing. I mean,
I think
it's,
it could be
It's a
there.
card, and it will be in the card pool for a while.
I would want half to a quarter of my deck to give me bad pub directly because all the cards are amazing. Like I'm resing Muckraker level ice every single time, and my Broadcast Square is saving me. I think that would be great.
All right. Up next, a card that is happening is Corporate Shuffle. It's a 2 influence, a 0 cost operation for MBN. It's a double. As an additional cost to play this operation, spend a click.
This is awesome.
Shuffle all cards into HQ, or all cards in HQ into R&D, and then draw 5 cards. It's a fantastic card.
This is a fantastic card.
This card is the reason why Joe beat me on Wednesday. He corporate shuffled into 2 Scorched Earth.
Oh wow. Was that in Wayland?
Yeah, he was running in Grendel.
Yeah. This feels like if you're an anonymous tipped, you're in this instead is the
Yeah.
question.
I think so.
I think so as well.
this is really good.
Because the games I've played with MBN, the majority of the time that I am looking for a card, I don't care what's in my hand right now.
Yeah.
Like I have
just
to
want
a
score.
shot.
I just need to find
Yeah.
that Astro, or I need to find that 3/2,
Or the
I need
2/1
to
for
find the
Wayland.
2/1, or
Yeah, I mean the fact that you don't have to have cards in hand to trigger this.
yeah.
It's literally just this could be the card in your hands.
Yeah, you draw and then
Shuffle.
2 clicks.
This
And
is
you also get
really
shuffle.
nice. This is really nice.
You get a dump card. It's
You dump
it's
5
really
agendas out of your
strong.
hand.
Yeah.
This is what rework wanted to be right here.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it tried to be. So I think we all 2 thumbs up across
Yeah,
the board.
NBN,
It's a good
obvious
card.
theme here. I mean, it's hard to work in all of their cards that do stuff like this, but you replace, you play around, you test, you tweak,
Yep.
and figure the one that works.
It's good. Am I up?
You're up.
For the bomb. Well, next up we have a Jinteki upgrade. It's a clone. Is it Sai? Is that how you
Sai.
say that? It's unique. Caprice Nisei. 2 cost, 1 trash cost. And here we go.
4 influence.
4
4
influence.
Baby.
Whenever the runner passes all the ice protecting the server, so after ice, before successful run. Is that correct?
Correct.
You and the runner secretly spend 0, 1, or 2 credits. Reveal spent credits. If you and the runner spent a different number of credits into the run,
Yep.
there's no chance to even trash
Cannot
her.
trash her if it's successful.
Woo!
She's a really strong card.
Hit me with it.
Yeah, that's insane.
There's a lot of concern here. I've heard
A lot of
murmuring.
people have been, that's a good word for it, murmuring about this card.
I've heard murmuring, yeah.
And I disagree completely. I think that it's a very strong card, but it is in no way broken or like it's just a strong card.
I think it's important to note you're a Jinteki player.
Right.
I'm just
speaking,
noting it.
I'm speaking from this objectively.
We
though.
can speak objectively.
I know. I'm
Like-
just noting facts here.
The games that I played with it, like it is so easy to trash off of R&D or from HQ. Just one trash cost. They see it on R&D, it's gone. If I do have one, and I play it, it's unique, so I can't defend more than one server with it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I do get to the side game, they generally like there's a chance that it'll end the run, which is good. It's fine. And then there's a chance that it won't. And if it doesn't, it's just a waste of credits for you.
Yeah, it's just awful. I do like that you can. I mean, basically, a runner coming down that server has to have 2 more credits than. They have to have at least 2 credits when they get to the successful.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't. I play really credit light against Jinteki a lot of the time.
So you can't run out of credits on that last
right,
piece of ice.
and which makes it especially cool with something like a feudal, right? So it's like
or the NAPD yeah, we'll get there.
Because then you've got to pay for it again.
it just makes it because if you have a feudal down there and I have 3 credits and you make me spin, you're gonna wager 2, and it's like, oh well, worst case scenario, he wagers 2, gets in, takes damage, and then bounces. It's like that's a pretty sweet little deal for the JT. But I don't know, these side games. These side games are interesting. There's no good way to play them, really. I mean, it's totally. If he has 2 to spend and I know that, then he's going to spend 0. But then someone's going to spend 1 because it's in between the 2 options, and you always go in between. You always get the medium. No one gets small or large.
It's classic game. I mean, you can't play size successfully. It's classic game theory, right? It's like he's going to spend 2 because he wants to spend 2 because he knows I'm going to spend 2. He's going to spend 1. But because like it's a circle, like it never ends.
And there are situations where you can read it, like if you're playing against them and it's like, oh, they have 5 credits. If I spend 2, and they spend 2 to end the run, that means they have 3 credits, which means they can no longer trigger snare, so R&D safe now.
Yeah.
Or things like that.
Yeah.
But you think that, and then you get it wrong, and then you don't get in anyway.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It ends the run. Or
maybe,
you get in.
Anyone worried about Capri should probably just start running 3 quests completed.
No, that it totally gets around her.
That's great.
Just saying.
I think she's a really powerful card. There's a reason she's 4 influence. She looks fantastic. Definitely shakes things up, especially for the old JT.
I would think that you run 1 in
card.
every Jinteki deck right now. At least 1.
At least 1. I agree.
You got to have the
now,
threat
it's worth
of
noting
Caprice.
that her with Ash is hilarious.
Oh, that's awful.
It's the worst server
It's
ever.
just awful. Yeah.
If they have money.
Heaven forbid.
I mean, you
anyone-
just don't go down that server unless you bankrupt them first.
You
But
try.
you don't know that it's there.
You try.
I mean, once
know?
you do, but
Yeah.
like later on, it's just like, nope, you can score out of that all day long.
At the end of the day, as people would say, you've just got to play Netrunner.
Yeah.
Go where the servers are good, and if they're not good, don't go there.
Yep.
Play a little Netrunner.
So you can put this on your deck.
Oh, yeah.
Play a little Netrunner.
Maker's
baby.
Eye. Oh, I'll just try Caprice. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, good luck wagering. Let's go to Shinobi.
Okie dokie.
About time you finally got your what
Illicit.
Tsurugi should have been in that you take a bad
Tsurugi's
pub.
fantastic,
I
bro.
know. Why do you not take a bad pub for
Oh, I
resing
get
it?
what you're saying.
There's no reason. When you res it, take a bad pub. It's a 5-strength Sentry. Hold the phone. I didn't really appreciate this card when I first
7
read
costs,
it.
5 strength Sentry.
7 cost, 5-strength Sentry. When you res it, take a bad pub. Trace 1, 1 net damage. Trace 2, 2 net damage. Trace 3, 3, and the run ends.
So that last one's really important.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I feel like I'm gonna see this in NBN Tracy deck?
Because you will.
Because you absolutely will.
That's why.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal card. It's the first card that can kill you in of itself.
It just kills you with money. This is a terrifying card, guys. This is a totally different game now.
Don't get your math wrong, because you will be screwed.
If Jinteki is up on you, like money-wise, like you can't run.
This is totally.
Unless you have a Sentry Breaker that can break a 5-strength
I
Sentry.
mean, you can run. You just have to spend all your money breaking the first.
The math is
at least
weird
one
though.
of these.
So they have to spend 7 to res it. So
And
they've got to be 7 up just to even out, and then I mean you have to be really in the hole to get eaten by this, but it's possible.
But it's possible.
Yeah.
Or they have to be
beware
extremely
criminals.
up.
Yeah.
Which happens.
I know that in my most recent Jinteki deck,
Okay.
I've had piles of money. the idea of it was to get piles of money and this card exists.
Yeah, so you got to be 7 and then
Demolish.
1 plus maximum runner pool. That's a lot of money. Unless they have 0 credits and then they're dead.
Yeah.
Screw 'em.
Well, I mean, yeah. Picture this is like the third piece of ice in a server, and it's like you res X, you res Y. They spend a lot of money, and then they get to this, and it's just like.
I particularly like the idea.
Chum Shinobi is phenomenal as well, by the way.
Yeah, that hurts me. I particularly like this over R&D, even as the very first piece of ice, and you just stay
Leave it
there.
there.
Because the greatest thing about giving people free R&D runs is they will not get economy. It's like, oh, I can get in, I'm going to run. I'm going to get in there. And then, like, they usually aren't worried about it because they don't need to break anything. They don't. It's like, I got 2 or 3 credits, it's fine. And then you hit them with Shinobi and they die. That's great. I love Jinteki.
He just giggles.
That is a great card.
It's
Seriously, I think one of those, at least one in every
Jinteki deck.
every
It's a
NBN
serious piece of
trace.
ice.
I think making news runs that 100% of the time.
I can see that as well.
We influence kind of goes wherever you want. It's,
Yep. All right, up next, we have Marker. It is a 0 cost, 3 strength code gate, 1 influence card for Jinteki. It is fantastic art. It has 1 subroutine. The next piece of ice the runner encounters gains in the run after all its other subroutines for the remainder of this run.
That's a thing.
It's okay. Sensei
it's a
does the
little
same thing.
wiener sensei.
0 res cost is nice. It still gets destroyed by Yogg. It's 1 influence, so it fits well into like an HB deck. It runs a lot of.
So with Marker and Sensei being 1 influence, could we see a maximum number of subroutines on your ice deck that runs like 2 or 3 senseis and 2 or 3 markers and just tries to like muckrakers and stuff and just tries to make it really annoying to get through them?
Yeah, I can see that.
You could see that because having to break 8 subroutines, it sucks.
Yeah, it's
Like,
not fun.
On a sentry, it's lame.
Sensei, Archer. Oh.
Aw, shucks.
Maybe that's the
Yeah,
thing.
I mean, that's an
Try it out,
interesting
guys.
card. That's an interesting card.
I think it's a fine card. I think it will see. It's what it is.
It is.
Seems to get an
you could build-
HB.
You could build a deck with having that going on.
It's not a mind blowing card. I'll say that.
3 strength code gates always have an issue. We
Yeah.
all know what it is.
All right, next up we have a Wayland Barriers, 5 cost, 3 strength. Hive loses an in the run subroutine for each agenda point in the corpse score area, and it has 5 into the run subroutines.
This card is fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
It's fantastic. That's all there is to say about
Yeah,
it.
it's super good early. It's semi good late.
The thing about this you have to think about is it's a Wayland card, so it's probably going to be played
This
in
is an
Wayland.
offensive card to me.
And Wayland,
Offensive?
This is offensive.
Like you're offended?
Yeah.
Wayland has a
Not
strategy
like offensive.
called Tag and Bag. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah, it's a thing. Yeah.
And they don't score a
Is
lot
that
of
where
agendas.
they don't care about points?
They don't
They
score
don't score-
agendas at all
They
unless
might
it's
score
tagging
close
you
to
to kill
bounty
you.
They just
or
want
some
you out.
hostile takeovers to get some money.
Yeah.
And either way, this is just going to keep.
So
you up.
yeah, basically what you're telling me is the way that I was able to beat that deck is get a few points early before they get their combo in hand, then set up Plascretes, and then try to get those last 2 or 3 points all at one go.
Yes.
And now I can't get the early points because there's no way I'm spending 6 credits off a Corroder every single time to get through this.
Correct.
I'll tell you what though, Morningstar is looking great, boys.
Morningstar destroys this ice.
I do want to mention this is 2 influence. So it does obviously fit really well into Wayland, but it's also,
Super splashable.
I mean, you can splash it into other tagging back.
Cerebral imaging feels good here. Although
Okay.
your influence is pretty thin as it is, I think. Because you
Accurate.
get Psycho and all those other
So
things.
that's a good piece of ice.
That's absurd. I mean, really?
Yep.
Why are you filling the one hole that was there?
Hey, don't be mad,
You
bro.
can't fem it because it's cost 5.
You certainly
Oh.
can't knight it.
No, 10 money.
I'll pay 10.
Oh,
This just feels so... I wish it were in any player's score area. I feel like that's
I
way...
feel like it would need to cost less if that was the case.
Yeah. This early game ice at its best.
It's good.
So silly.
It's pretty good. All right. Up next, we have Witness Tampering.
Wayland, man.
It is a 4-cost Wayland operation, 1 influence. It's a double and it's a gray ops. As an additional cost to play this operation, spin a click. Remove up to 2 bad publicity.
Speaking of filling holes.
There it is. 1 influence.
I don't know that we play this, though. Not right now. I mean...
I think that Bradley said it best. I understand that these cards need to exist. I'm just not excited about them.
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah.
card needs to exist, needs to be there, but it's not blowing your mind. It's not.
I mean, I think having a 1 influence card that does this makes it where they can actually experiment a little bit with the runner being capable of giving you.
There's just not enough.
Not
There's
yet.
just not enough bad pub stuff yet.
The thing I see is, like, right now, as the runner, if you want to have a competitive deck, like, you have to run Plastic Crate.
Yeah.
Like, you have to do certain things. There aren't really the corp equivalent of that yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
Jackson's probably the closest thing, but you don't have to run Jackson. I don't
Yeah.
think you do. And if the runner is able to give bad pub a little bit more aggressively
And
do more than just blackmail with it.
and do more than just blackmail with it, then I think it becomes a sort of similar thing.
A different game, more or less. Yeah, that's fair.
Interesting card. I mean, it's not mind-blowing, but it does what it does.
You'll know if you need to run it. I'll say that.
You will indeed know. All right, next up, we have NAPD Contract. It's a 4/2 neutral agenda security. The advancement requirement on NAPD Contract is increased by 1 for each bad pub the corp has. As initial cost to steal NAPD Contract, the runner must pay 4.
This is a fantastic agenda.
I feel like Jinteki
I love this
digs
agenda.
this.
Kentucky loves this. I think MBN just loves this. Like the typical MBN deck that runs all of the agendas that you would expect, and then also 3 of either market research or character assassination.
Yeah.
Like, this is an immediate swap into for that. Like, because they never score the 4/2. Like, they do sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, it's not their plan though.
They do sometimes
Like,
if you have to.
But it's not what you want. And I would much rather score a 4/2 that is way harder for the runner to steal than it is for.
Yeah, it seems quite a bit safer. And let's not forget what RSVP does here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Can't spend credits to steal it. This is way safe, and I like this.
I forgot to mention that
idea.
about Caprice Nice as well. RSVP into Caprice means you can't spend credits.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry I did forget.
Yeah,
to
that's a
mention
thing.
That's really great. Yeah.
that.
So
Sorry,
it's
you're
all
not
y'all,
invited
is
to
what
the
you're
party.
saying.
What?
Sorry, you're not invited to the party.
I love this, man. This is what a strong agenda, a good little neutral
Yep.
option here.
Yeah.
4/2s, neutral 4/2s are offering us a lot of benefits that will go into certain types of decks. Private Security Force comes to mind, fitting that kind of bill. Econ Denial is a thing. Tag and bag is a thing. It's starting to throw.
Yeah. This is just. This can be really annoying in Jinteki whenever 6 of my agendas require you to pay 2 or 4 money to steal.
Yeah.
Just like.
Yeah.
I mean, also, like...
It's hard enough. I've got to deal with economy and cards against Jinteki. It's like, man, one or the
and
other. Pick.
at the same time, too, it's like, if you're running Caprice, it's, okay, I'm going to bid 2, knowing you have to pay 2 to get in, and then you get in, and now you have to pay 4, which you may not have anymore.
Well, I mean, what happens if you hit the ash and I put the trace where you'd have 3 credits left? It's like, are you even going to bother paying it? And if you do, then you hit this, you suck. And if you don't, then I score it next turn. So either way, you're
Yeah.
still hosed.
Yeah.
I love it.
There's a lot of mind games we playing here.
Unless you got a fall guy back there to get immediate 2 credits. Cool,
What are we
man.
finishing with here?
Yeah, let's finish with Quandary. Probably the most game-changing card in the pack.
I'm not going to disagree with that.
1 cost, code gate, 0 strength in the run. It's a baby enigma, as everyone
It
knows.
wants to have 2 subroutines when it grows up.
That's awesome. I mean,
That's a cool card.
The
It's a
ultimate,
fantastic card.
the cost of the runner can be calculated a lot of different ways, and I don't know how everyone at home does that or you guys do that, but there's certainly something to be said for forcing them to get a certain kind of breaker before they can even get in the server. So obviously, you'll trade this for getting your Yogg
All day.
all day.
All day.
I've got to dig. I've got to pay 5 to install just to get past this 1 cost piece of ice. Like that gives you so much room.
This ice immediately replaced Enigma in all of my decks. Like, it does the same exact thing that Enigma did,
Except once
If you
per
pay
game,
1.
they lose 1 click.
but completely worth saving 2 money every time.
I think that's appropriate. Although, again, I mean, and it depends. Ice Destruction, if it's a strong and it's a thing in your area, this...
But I mean, the 2 strength of
it's
Enigma is
shut.
not going to be that. It's not.
No.
No.
Put a little Ice Destruction in my day. It won't stop it, but it'll at least cause you to spend some counters or dig out a
Whoa.
Parasite and wait a
Whoa.
turn.
But, like, it just...
It's a good card. I mean, some people run Enigma, some people run Quandary. And
Everyone should be running Quandary.
I think it's
Yeah.
an instant choice over Enigma right now. Because it forces the same breaker, Yogg or Gordian or
Mhm.
Zool, either way. And it's going to cost the same amount as an Enigma for anyone, because no one runs on an Enigma on the first 3 clicks.
Yeah.
Just because
It's a standard issue.
it's just not what you do.
Standard issue. I love Quandary.
This is great. It's so good early, so you can rest both pieces of ice if you need to.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, just being able to spend 1 to keep them out.
It's in
It's
Code Gate
great.
Ice Wall.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Cool. Well, what are you guys' thoughts on the pack?
My thoughts are you're going to have to set up a rig as a runner.
It's really good.
Or
I think
Ice Destroyo.
This might be the best corp pack to date.
Oh, man. We always say it. There are good cards everywhere. This is the best neutral corp cards that we've ever gotten in a pack.
Yeah, both are fantastic.
Both are just immediately great for almost any deck.
Wayland get Hive, Jinteki get Shinobi and Caprice, Corporate Shuffle.
In EPD, we really didn't praise it as much as it could be praised, because even in Wayland, I mean, Wayland loves you to spend 4 credits, take a 2-point agenda, and then not have money to trace out their punitive or their midseason or C-source. So
super strong.
This is really strong. Man, what a strong card. Tampering is just a thing. Hive is unbelievable for Wayland.
Hive is fantastic.
Just unbelievable. Tisk Wayland players for getting it handed to you.
Hey, let's not forget Caprice up in here.
Marker.
I'll
trade
you.
Caprice has a fail shot.
I will still trade.
Hive
you.
does not.
You want to swap those from Jinteki to Wayland?
Marker's okay.
I'd do it. I'd trade.
Shinobi is meta defining in certain aspects. I love
Caprice
this card.
Is also the same
Caprice massive. Jinteki really did well here. NBN gets a little redundant, but probably better card than
I like the hand
they
swap.
had. I think Corporate Shuffles doesn't solve a problem, but it maybe is a little bit better in a lot of cases.
HB didn't get a lot of love. I think that they're both fine.
They're both fine.
They're world changing. Lucky Find I think strong. Paintbrush is strong.
Paintbrush strong.
I love Paintbrush.
Power Nap really Shaper's set to do a really cool double deck. Fall Guy's great. It'll only get better with the connection suite and things coming. Savoir Faire, it's okay. Silencer, we'll see. Dyson, we'll see.
By the way, this is the TLDR, the version of the video. Right
Yeah,
here.
I don't think Anarch's really got much here.
Yeah, it's definitely a corp pack. It's Corpse World.
It's a good pack. Interesting things for the runner, great things for the court, and off to run we go.
I wish Singularity could get around Caprice. That'd be really cool.
But it doesn't.
It doesn't. No, it definitely doesn't. But hey, and let's talk Singularity. You can trash agendas that you might not want to score at that time. Like NAPD contract, it's like, well, I don't have to worry about it. Just kill it all, and then I'll sort it out in archives later.
Same thing with Feudal.
I'll sort it out in archives later.
So overall, man, killer pack. Way to go, Netrunner.
That's good.
Yeah, we got a lot of ideas. I feel like there's a lot of seeds, and is this the end of the?
This is the end of the spin cycle.
I thought we would get more with Bad Pub in this cycle. Honestly, I don't think we got enough to leverage a lot of those Bad Pub cards throughout the cycle.
I think it was definitely a good start though.
Good start, yeah.
The amount of Bad Pub before compared to now is a lot larger.
And hopefully we'll get some more coming through. I think we got a lot of tools, some good foundation work here, and then there's a lot of, I mean, you can see branches, so many branches of ways to play. You got Blackguard, which is a brand new way to play Criminal. You've got Singularity, which could be a way to start playing Anarch and looking at archives and noise, just like archive overwhelming style decks, Hemorrhage, and that kind of data leak reversal. Just throw it all in there and run it. That's a thing. You got Queen's Gambit, set up some things for some remote bluffing. I don't know. I feel like the game will get back to remote servers.
I think
fairly soon, probably in the next 6 months or so. Will it be before Worlds? Who knows? But
it's the big question. We're about to hit regional season.
I think we're about to see a huge, obviously, Criminal and Jinteki get in the box.
That's going to be
about to see a huge meta-defining shift in everything.
Jinteki's about to get the tools.
Yeah, and I think Criminal now has Blackguard, etc. It also is going to have connections, etc. It's going to have massive run events with the new runner, etc. It's going to have Classic Andy. It's going to have Classic Gabe. I mean, you're not going to know what to do.
I really like where the game's heading right now, personally.
I can't imagine why he's got a Criminal Jinteki box on the way.
Oh, you
like
where the game's heading? Have a box coming? Yeah, I love where this game's going.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thank you guys for watching. It's been the unboxing of Double Time Data Pack. If you want to pick this up, you can do that on our web store. We do offer these packs for sale, all of them. While you're there, you can probably get any of the other ones, so it's your one-stop shop. And if you want to just have this on the way to you when it comes out, that's a thing that we do. Our subscriptions, which are awesome, an awesome way to support us and to give us a chance to support you guys. So thank you again for watching, and we will see you down the beanstalk. Yes! Great outro.
Good one.
Nailed it.
Did it.